Hello everybody and welcome back to RTP Gaming, where today we are going to be discussing the video game for PlayStation 4 Days Gone. Joining me today is my sister,
Hello.
Gemma, and hi. And we are going to be discussing Days Gone and getting a broader, wider view on the game, because I have my opinions on it, but my sister also has her opinions on it as well. Because she is a big fan of the game and she will probably have her criticisms that will be different to mine.
So it's probably worth mentioning that I would consider myself a amateur gamer and a casual gamer. So in contrast to Rick, who, as you will know, is an experienced professional, we might say, I am like proper just someone who will very occasionally pick up the controller, and I only kind of don't really play games very regularly, do I?
No.
And there's a theme of games that I probably like. So GTA 5, if I just say that's like my favouriteest game in the whole wide world, I've played that about 5 times through, because that's the only one that I've really just like enjoyed like the storyline and things like that. So they're the things that I suppose are really important to me, and that's where I'm coming from. I think in terms of my comments and feedback around Days Gone is how easy it is to pick up as a casual gamer and still enjoy the story and enjoy the gameplay without having to kind of like really get too involved in the situation.
What the thing that I like most about Days Gone is, like you say, it's easy to pick up and play. However, my criticisms of it is also that it's not as story driven, in my opinion, whereas I think it very much tries to be The Last of Us, and plays very much like The Last of Us does in terms of graphics. Fluidity of gameplay is very, very good, and a lot of people's criticisms, I think, of The Last of Us was that it was more story driven and people wanted it to be an open world game. And I think what Days Gone gives you is it's an open world game, but while it does have a storyline and a story arc, it doesn't seem as,
It's not really strong, is it?
No, it's a very weak sort of storyline in terms of it being driven by story, which is why you probably like Grand Theft Auto 5, because while it had a story arc, it had three different viewpoints of story, and while it being open world, it was engaging enough to be, to keep you engaged in your story all the time. Whereas I think Days Gone wants to be that, but hasn't delivered strongly on the story.
So I'm like nowhere near as far through, I think, as you are. I think there's a lot more story that you complete than I have, but. Yeah, I kind of agree to some extent in that respect. It's like I don't like really feel for Deke and like have like this really strong bond with him or anything.
No.
So in terms of the gameplay, the thing that I like and the thing that reminds me of GTA, like you say, is that you can just go off and there's like little side missions that you can pick up on if you want, or you can just like, it's easy to just be able to follow the list of missions. So I think like this game is probably it really appeals to me because it's a cross between it's like a mashup of all of the games that I actually play. So the things that I play, like I said, GTA 5, Last of Us, Dead Island Riptide, it's like a mashup of like all 3 of those. So there's like lots of missions going on and all at the same time potentially, which is where you've got all these percentages and storylines and stuff like that, which is like clearly Dead Island-esque.
Yes.
Then there's GTA, which is like there is their open world aspect, and the fact that you kind of have these like little pop-up side missions and stuff. That's very GTA. And then the Last of Us element, I guess, is that feeling that there's this bigger, deeper storyline in there about like him trying to find his wife and finding out what's going on in the bigger picture, and there's that sort of feel about it. So I can see where they've kind of just tried to draw on like different aspects of those different games.
Yeah, I think part of the problem that Days Gone has got that I've found so far is that it doesn't quite know what it wants to be. I think, and I think the reason it's got a lot of unfair criticism, in my opinion, is that yes, the game has taken a very long time to come out, and it's had many of its release dates pushed forward and backwards. Sorry, my dog's down here as well, so she's wanting mass attention. There we go. There she is. So where I think that Days Gone wants to be an open world game, it's focused too much along the lines of it being open world and being such a vast area with so much going on and storylines and side missions popping up here and there. It hasn't focused enough on being, you know, like you say, making you care about the characters. I think for the first maybe 3 hours that I've played it, I must have spent maybe 20 minutes doing a main story, and
the rest is sort of like feels like side missions.
Yeah, all the rest of it just feels like you're sort of wandering around waiting for something to happen. Yeah. I know that Days Gone has been quoted as having 30 hours of story, and I don't even feel as though I've done half an hour of story. It just feels as
serious story.
Yeah, it just feels as though you're waiting for the game to pick up, and I think that's a problem when your company, when your producers have spent so long advertising a game, making it look really good with its trailers and gameplay that it's shown, only for people to start the game and think, okay, I've played 2 hours here, where's
the story?
Where's the story? Why should I care about this character? Why should I, you know?
Because I've not like read any of all of these reviews and criticisms and stuff like that, and that's like where I think the difference is between our opinions is because obviously you know like how it's been marketed and how it's been kind of developed, and there's been all this kind of criticism and critiques and reviews and stuff. I've read none of that, and I've literally, like as I say, just come in and thought, oh, this is a game about killing zombies. I like games about the zombie apocalypse, so let's just play it. And so I'm not coming at it from a bias, any kind of bias, or with any expectation. Yeah. So coming at it from someone with no expectations of it, I think it's actually a really good game. So and I think that's what is to its detriment in some aspects, is that the people, the hardcore gamers that have like been following this story for a real long time are disappointed. But you know, they're arguably only a very small representation of the market. So the market that Days Gone has gone out to is probably for. It might not be for those like experienced gamers. They've gone to market to put a game out for the casual gamer who's not like really bothered about all of these reviews and just wants to like have a good game to just pick up like in the middle of the night. So I was playing this till 1 o'clock in the morning because I just don't get the opportunity to during the day with like work and young family and stuff like that. So I just kind of was like picking it up at 10 o'clock at night after everybody else had gone to bed, playing it for a couple of hours. And I think for those sort of people who've just only got like an hour here and there, it's good. It's good, yeah. I think it's a really good game, and I've not read any of the reviews, but I think the reason it's suffering from what Rick says like about it's suffering in terms of its appearance and stuff is purely because it's been hyped up so much that everyone's saying it's not a good game. But it's not that it's not a good game. It's that it's not living up to its hype.
Exactly.
That is ultimately the review. Is it doesn't live up to its hype, but it's not a bad game. It is I think it's a fun game to play. I think it's easy to play. You know, it's like we said, it's easy to just pick up and leave it. You can just do one mission, or you can do 5 missions and not feel like you've like missed out or anything. Yeah. And it does leave you wanting more. So like, even though I was playing till 1 o'clock in the morning, I was like, oh, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and I'll play a little bit more, you know. And it's you know, but you can. So you do still feel, you know, you feel like you want to carry on playing it. So you know, a lot of the things that games suffer for me from a casual perspective is like, so you would argue like, well, why didn't I like games like Metal Gear Solid or Red Dead Redemption, or because they're very similar. They're all very similar games, but for me, like those ones, they weren't so easy to pick up and drop because there was so much more going on, and you had to there was like lots of things to remember about like button combinations and how to like operate the controls even.
Yeah.
But if you picked it up, if you played it for a bit, you got used to what was going on. But then if you left it and had to come back to it, then not only are you further on in the story, so it expects you to know how to use the controller, for example. But if you forgot, then you just you suffer then, and you just struggle with it, and it's harder to follow, and you haven't got So the thing I do like is the story menu. I think is what you can get into as well. Is the format.
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
The fact that you can go into the story and like remember like where you're up to with like ambush camps or infestation camps or the different places that you live.
I think you're completely right and fair with that, because Red Dead Redemption, for example,
so hard. Oh my god.
This is a very, very fair point. Is that Red Dead Redemption 2 had just as much, if not more, hype than Days Gone, and everybody when they played it just instantly fell in love with the game. And I think this is why,
for me as a casual gamer, I hated it. I stopped playing it. I couldn't play it.
And I think this is the problem, because I think a lot of people, I think Days Gone got equally as much hype, and it was due to come out around the same time as Red Dead Redemption 2 was.
Originally.
And I think if they would have both come out at the same time, I think Days Gone still would have got more slander from the experienced gamer. And I think that's only due to the fact that Red Dead is an established franchise and is a sequel to an established franchise. Whereas I think Days Gone advertised itself as being the next big thing. Do you know what I mean? I think in a way it advertised itself as being its own game, but
building on the success of The Last of Us and those.
Yeah, the way that it looks, and the fact that they're saying it's basically, so many people when they saw that trailer went, this just looks like The Last of Us. It looks like The Last of Us. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be great. Look at how the animations move. Look at how the facial expressions move. Look at how much stuff is going on the screen at one time. Yeah. And everybody's thought it's going to be amazing. And then they've seen clips of Red Dead Redemption 2, and what Red Dead Redemption 2 focused on was story. It focused on cinematic clips of story. It didn't really focus on gameplay, and it only released gameplay footage about a week before the game came out. So nobody really focused on the gameplay. Everybody's focused on the fact that they thought,
it's like a movie.
It almost looks like a movie. Whereas Days Gone, I think the problem it did was it focused on the gameplay, but it only focused on, realistically, when you play the game, aspects that happen very, very scarcely. It doesn't happen all the time. So it focused on that one scene in a train yard where there was like 5 billion zombies that are chasing him up a big hill, and everybody thought, oh, this is going to happen all the time. And when you play the game, whereas when it does happen, it is ridiculously intense and it's fun, because you can just turn around, try and kill them, die, and it just drops you just before that happened anyway. So you can approach it in a different way. So whereas I think that's fun, it focused all of its hype on this happening, and because it doesn't happen all the time and straight away, everybody's thinking, well, why advertise it as this happening when it's not going to happen very often? And as the closer that the date, and as the closer that the release date came to it, it showed story footage. So it showed a trailer of Deacon in the church in his wedding scene. It showed clips of some of the rival camps coming in, and him associating that, and it showed story aspects. So what it did is it focused on the big parts at the wrong time. Its marketing strategy compared to Red Dead Redemption is completely opposite.
But then I say, it's probably down to who they're marketing it to.
Yes.
Because for me, casual gaming wise, that kind of way round sort of appeals to me.
Yeah.
And I must say, and I don't know whether it's because obviously we'd start to have conversations about how it's been marketed and like the difference of the game and stuff like that. But I've noticed like the adverts for Days Gone. I've noticed them more in mainstream TV than I've noticed adverts for other games. So like I'd kind of, you know, we hadn't really had a conversation about Days Gone, but I'd already heard about Days Gone because I'd seen it in mainstream telly and thought, oh yeah, that's a game that I know, I reckon that I'm gonna like to play. Whereas like if I see, you know, so the only other kind of game adverts that I, you know, really remember from TV are like game adverts from like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I know like and you know, and I watched those ones and I was like, no, that's definitely not for me. But these were the Days Gone adverts were the ones that I watched, and I was like, oh yeah, I could actually see myself playing that. And it's good to have this conversation and have the two different opinions, because I think probably at the moment it's all the one opinion, because but you know, the casual gamers, obviously they've not got their own like YouTube channels and they've not got their own like outlet to be able to say, oh actually we think it's all right as a game. And I think that's the difference, is it's getting panned because the casual gamer doesn't really bother to share its voice.
No.
But they actually think it's all right, and that's what it is for me. I think that's why it's kind of good to. That's why I thought it was good to have this conversation, because it gives it something different, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I don't, and as well, I don't want to come across as myself seeming
You're
like
not negative about
that I'm being negative about this game, because you're
just showing the view of the people's.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear as to what people are. Others are saying, because I think, you know, it, like my sister says there, I don't think people are really, you know, taking into consideration the fact that not everybody thinks like a big game reviewer.
Like a massive gamer.
No, not everybody's a huge gamer. So when people go and get a game, and especially people that are concerned about spending £52, £60 on a game, I think when people think that, they think, well, I just want to know what it's like first. You know, and they'll go and read something like IGN or GameSpot or something like that, and they'll see it.
Going to be put off it, which is
and I think it's unfair, because IGN and GameSpot, if you actually go and look at their reviews of this game, they're really unfair. And I mean, when I say unfair, I mean like there are aspects of it that are very fun, like the fact that, you know, weapon customization. You not say weapon customization, but weapon purchases and everything. There are no microtransactions in the entire game. You can't actually, you know, go on and the PlayStation Store and say, right, you have to buy money to buy this gun or anything like that.
Is that a thing? See, I didn't even know what
that is a thing.
I don't even know what microtransactions are.
Microtransactions are things like, well, for example, you know, on Grand Theft Auto, when, you know, if you wanted to,
on the network version.
if you wanted to go online and customize your character or something, they would say, right, you go on, and if you want
this
more
dress,
money,
or if you want this jacket, then you have to
pay it costs so much
physical money.
Yeah, it costs like $100, but if you don't want to grind online and earn $100, you can buy $100 for £5.
Oh.
So they're called microtransactions.
Oh, yeah, that's really naughty.
Yeah, that's really naughty. And the worst ones for that, I think things like FIFA. EA are notorious for microtransactions. That's how they make the money.
Bad.
Of course it is, yeah.
Because if you paid like 60 quid for a game, or 50, 60 quid for a game, and then it's like, oh well, you know, if you want to enhance your character, if you want to actually play this game with other people that have spent money on it, then you're going to have to spend money on it as well.
Exactly.
To level up. Then it's like, well, you're immediately cutting out those people.
Exactly.
Who either can't afford to do it, or shouldn't afford to do it, and then fritter away their money, you know, on these things, which isn't fair.
And going back to Days Gone, that's why that's another plus for them, is that there doesn't. In fact, I don't even think it has an online store. I don't even think it has an online.
I've noticed any like online.
No, it hasn't got an online store, so it means that you know, it's not forcing you in any way, and it's not even willing to tempt you to say, if you want this, pay more money. And that's good. That's a good thing, because and that's always a plus, and I'll always say that that's a plus with any game. As long as there's nothing on there to tempt you to spend more money, then that's excellent. And again, if you think about it from this perspective, that is aimed more at the casual gamer. Because the more experienced gamer would be like, oh, I really want this, let's buy it. Do you know what I mean? So that's probably...
I'm not gonna buy that stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to like get on it and play and like have a nice time. But
Exactly.
I don't, I probably didn't know, didn't know about the microtransaction thingies because I don't play GTA Online because I'm just like, no, I'll just play the story and I'll happily play that story over and over again because it's that long in between when I play the stories that it's kind of like I enjoy it every time anyway. It's not like I need new stories. So.
And Resident Evil 2 was the same.
Yeah. Well, Resident Evil 2 is just a classic, let's face it.
Pros and cons. So if we're gonna summarise Days Gone, I would say negatives is the touchpad. The central touchpad is so bad and it's just so annoying and frustrating. So that's a negative for me. A positive would be the fact that it is very easy to just pick up and play. It's aimed at the casual gamer. It's not got microtransactions. That's positive number 2.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with that. That always a good thing. Another negative might be, from my point of view, personally, not from my sister's point of view, but a negative for me would be if it had the option.
Better autosave.
If it had more autosave points, that would be good. Even if you just cross over a certain border, it saves it from that point.
Yeah.
That would be good, but it's not a major thing. 3 on a negative again for me personally. The story is a bit slow. I just think if it actually held its grip as much as it held it in the opening 2 minutes of the game, if it held that grip for longer, even if it was just for the first hour, then I would feel more invested in the character.
Yeah.
Although, to equal that out, I'm about maybe 3 hours in, 4 hours into the story, and it's starting to get really, really good now.
Yeah. Yeah, so you were saying that it kind of goes in like peaks and troughs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You kind of get, and that's what people have said that have played it all the way through,
Yeah.
is that it's like, it gets boring, and then it's like, oh, it's really good, and then boring.
And and I think I think that again is more for the experienced gamer rather than the casual gamer, because the casual gamer.
Yeah, because I've not
just
even
enjoy.
noticed that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just having fun.
But from what I've seen, it's like boring. Really good, boring. Really good, and maintains being really good for a very long time, and then just goes boring, and then goes really good again. And I think, and that's why I get the feeling that that all of these setbacks, these small setbacks that it had, it was while it was still trying to. It didn't know what it wanted to be. I don't think it knew whether it wanted to be more story driven or open world, and I think that's the thing.
The summarization of it.
Yeah. The other thing I really like as well, and is a positive, is the stealth aspect of it. I love the stealth aspect of it.
I really do enjoy that.
I love it. I think it's really good that it's not focusing on the fact that you just have to go all guns. Yeah, you have to go with all guns in blazing. I like the fact that there is the option to be stealthy.
Yeah.
Because
basically, I don't shoot anything. I just like sneak up on stuff and like just stab it in the face, basically.
Yeah, stab it right in the face.
In the actual face. That's all I do. Kind of, I just go like sneaking around and stabbing stuff.
Yeah.
Like just like ninja stuff, which probably means that it takes me like 3 times as long to actually complete a mission than anybody else. But
it
I
is true.
enjoy that side of things.
Yeah,
I enjoy that much more.
It is true, because that's one thing that I really enjoy in games as well, is the fact that you can approach something in a different way. It doesn't force you to be like, you must do this in this way, otherwise you are not getting any further. Yeah. So that's good. So far it's 4-3. And the other thing that I really, really like in it as well is the fact that you can customize just about everything. You can customize your guns, you can have suppressors on there, you can increase your capacity of clips. I don't know whether you'll know this, so so far
I know about the suppressors and stuff.
Yeah. When you take over more camps and everything, you can upgrade your melee weapons as well, so you can get better barbed wire baseball
I like the
bats.
variety of the skill points. The variety of the skill points thing is good.
Skill
So like
point
if you are a
yeah.
melee person, which obviously I am because I'm like a ninja type person,
Yeah.
then I'm upgrading all of that, and I've basically not done any upgrades in terms of skill points on my ranged weapons because I'm just like not using them. So it's like, why waste my skill points on that?
Exactly.
So I'm doing all the survival and melee stuff first.
And it doesn't penalise you for doing that as well,
Yeah.
which is good. So that's 5. That might even be 5 and 6 for me, because I think the fact that the skill points are good, customization of weapons are really good, and the fact that and the bike,
and it's flexible, like what you customizing as well.
yeah, exactly. And I think the bike, having the bike is a nice touch, because I don't think there's that many games where transport wise you get bikes.
No.
And you can actually customize the bike. You know, I know for a fact there is a certain point on the game, without giving anything away, where you need to customize the bike to get to an area. Otherwise, you cannot get to that area.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Ooh.
there is actually.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, there is actually a point in that game where if you want to upgrade yourself to get to a certain bit, you need to upgrade your bike.
You need to do the bike, yeah.
Because if you don't upgrade the bike, and that I suppose is pushing the story a bit. Maybe it's a way to sort of be like, yeah, you really should do this.
Also, do this now. So
Yeah, maybe do this now so you can get somewhere else. And I like that because it's subtle enough without being.
Yeah. So you can still
forceful.
be meandering around the world, but then it's like, yeah, you do need to do this
So
eventually.
yeah, sort of when you get to one point. And one more negative as well. I think we're probably up to like 8 on good things, and one more negative down to 4 is I don't like the fact that there's not a sense of achievement when you do a mission. I don't know whether you found that. I think
like the little pop-ups that are like ping, and you got like so many points for Copeland Camp or so many points for Tucker Camp or whatever. And there's that like bit, but then it's just like you might just then see like a teeny tiny percentage increase on the storyline. It's like, oh, is that all I've done? I've just spent 3 hours and all it's like done is like 5% on the storyline.
Yeah,
like, on one of the tiny storylines, and it's like.
I think my criticism on that is the fact that it's because if I play a game, I like to, if I'm going to do a mission, I want to 100% a mission. I want to do it and then be like, right, that's done.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And
there's a sense of, and there's a sense of like completion with it. Whereas I feel sometimes you'll do a mission on this and you'll do it and you'll think, right, yeah, I've done that to the best of my ability, and you'll look at the completion level and it'll be like 25%. And you're like, does that mean that I've done that 25%, 100%, or does that mean that there is more to that story? Do you know? Because you don't know at what point where that mission's gonna pick up again. That is a frustration, but again, that's just me. So really, for me, on my side of it, I think there's maybe 8, 9 good things to 4 bad things, and that's why I think that, you know, criticism-wise, on terms of it being somebody who's read about it, and I think that that's my opinion, and I think that's the opinion of a lot of people, but I'm being fair about it, and I'm not just saying it's crap because of that, and why have they spent all this time for it to not feel finished? I don't think that's fair.
No.
Because with
it's an appeal to different audiences.
Yeah,
so
it's an appeal to a different audience. And to be fair, if it was any other game, some games are completely aimed at being just for casual fun. And there's nothing that ever said that this game wasn't that. And I think everybody just took it in their own head. Yeah,
for the professional gamer.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the unfair criticisms come.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's mine.
Agree. From what's been said, I think it's that it's been hyped up as a professional game for professional gamers, when in reality it's not that, and it's probably it does appeal more to the mass market, to the casual gamer that just wants to like pick up and play. And therefore, the experienced gamers are kind of like feeling let down by that situation, and that's probably, you know, that's where this has come from, isn't it? It's that they're feeling let down because the hype said it was going to be a game for them, when actually it's a game for everyone. Yeah,
and I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I can't think of anything else that's, you know, that's worth mentioning so far, because I haven't completed the game. I don't know what the ending's like. I don't know what the middle of the game's like, because I still think I'm relatively close to the beginning. Whenever I've streamed it, nobody really has come in and said, this game's terrible. And anybody that's watched any of the streams when I've played it, even though 90% of the time I'm just getting eaten by zombies and ripped apart, nobody's saying, "Oh, you suck" or anything like that. So I think there is enjoyment there to watch, and I enjoy playing it. I enjoy I enjoy the sense of completion, and I enjoy to a certain extent when you do a little cutscene and then you see a cutscene and you're like, "Oh wow," wow, we've got we it's advanced the story a little bit. And I do like that, and like I say, this wasn't. I don't want to come across as being another person to say that this is bad, because completely opposite. I think it's a good game. I think its audience that it's appealed to is more along the casual gamer, but I still think that it can be enjoyed. I think
by
if
an
you
experienced gamer,
if you
do away
chance.
with all your
if you give it a
away
chance,
with all your preconceptions, and just take it for what it is, which is like a fun zombie apocalypse game, and then get rid of all the hype from your mind, I think that's like you end up enjoying it.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's pretty much to conclude it, is that if you're going to play this game, if you haven't played this game already, if you're going to play this game, go into it with an open mind.
Yeah, don't read about the hype. Just like go in and play it for what it is,
and enjoy it for what it is. Because and don't think too much about what it could be, and enjoy it as what it is. Because if you read too much into it and you think too much about it, then you're not going to enjoy it. Because
and I suppose one thing we haven't talked about, but it probably just goes without saying, is the fact that visually, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So everything that Red Dead, has been in terms of visuals and Last of Us was in terms of landscaping and stuff like that. All of those things just goes without saying. It's kind of beautiful, and it's almost like you kind of expect that now. But I thought it might be something that just we ought to just mention is. There's nothing to talk about there. There's no criticism there.
No.
It kind of like, it just goes without saying that it's a beautiful looking game and it plays very well, and there's no like glitches, or I've not come across any glitches or like getting stuck in buildings or anything like that. It's just like nice.
I haven't suffered anything like stability wise. I haven't like actually been kicked out of the game where it's like, oh, this is crashed now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
there's none of even that.
Yeah. And I think in a way, maybe that's why it took so long, because I think
they've made it right. Yeah.
They've made it so that it doesn't crash, and it doesn't.
Glitch free.
And there's a lot going on the screen at any one time.
There is, yeah.
And I think that's
a lot of movement. It's not like it's a static game either. It's just like no character moving around on the screen. No. There's always something kind of going on in the background, and lots of like free play and stuff, isn't there? So free movement on the screen.
And I think that's why you've got to appreciate, like we said, we've got to appreciate it for what it is, because graphically, like you say, it's up there with anything that's come out recently, into like with Red Dead, like you say, and even the bullet mechanics. If you use the bow and arrow, I don't know whether you've got the bow and arrow on yours.
Crossbow,
yeah, you've got the crossbow. On the crossbow, even the crossbow dynamic works very well. That if you're shooting a long distances, the arrow dips. Like it would in real life.
Yeah.
So even
some real life elements to it. Like the fact you have to fix your bike, the fact you have to put fuel in it, all of those kind of like it makes you feel like it is a real life game. It's not just like, oh yeah, your bike magically goes to places.
It's not unrealistic.
Exactly.
And I think that is to its benefit, and I don't think that should be criticised by people saying, "Oh, I've got to go get fuel. Why do I need to go and get fuel? This bike should have unlimited fuel," because then it wouldn't seem real. It wouldn't seem real, and Red Dead wasn't. Red Dead was very much the same. If you overfed your horse and he got fat, then he didn't run very fast. Do you know what I mean? And nobody criticised that, but I've seen things online where people are saying, "Oh, I've got more time just like wandering about and finding fuel and fixing my bike and finding scrap and everything." But that's part of the game.
That real world.
That's part of what would happen in real life, and I think that's why it's got to be appreciated for that, and it can't be it can't be slated for being so far-fetched, but it can't be slated for being too realistic either, because what do you want?
What do you want, people?
I don't understand what you want.
What do you want, people?
So yeah, I think that's it. I think, you know, like I say, stunning visuals, really, you know, pick up and play. You know, everything's customization. Everything's customable. Is that a word? Customizable. And the skill point levels and everything else. It's got more positives than it has negatives. And mine really.
And the negatives have kind of really come from the hype thing.
Yeah.
Other than
the stupid, annoying touchpad, which is just like, you could have fixed that. That was just bad design.
That's just like dough.
Yeah,
that was a proper dough moment.
It was just bad design by you. And like I said, I've said it on streams before, that is my only major criticism. I do have little criticisms, but they're just my personal niggles. Yeah. It's not something that from a mass
market perspective that's going to affect everyone.
Yeah. It's not something that would affect everything. That's just my personal preference. So really, it has only got maybe 2 major flaws, and that's it. Other than that, you've just got to go into the game with an open mind and enjoy it for what it is. Because if you don't, and you go into it believing the hype and believing that it's not going to be very good, it won't be very good.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because, like I say, my sister's point of view that she's let you know there is that she didn't listen to any of the hype. She didn't see any of the hype. She didn't read into any of it, and she loves it.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it. The thing one thing we didn't mention that to close this out is the loading screen.
Oh yeah, that does take millions.
It does take so long.
When it says 785 days gone, that's how long it feels when it's doing the loading screen.
To do the loading screen. Yeah, you know, like I don't blame.
Days gone is literally what happens when you're waiting for the loading screen to happen.
There's been 800 days gone before the loading screen loads up, and if anybody streamed that, I've noticed that when I've watched anybody streaming it, they haven't streamed the loading screen. They've just waited till the loading screen is on. It's like, right now we'll stream it, because while I set it off to load, I've gone and had my breakfast, ran to the shop, read the paper, had a brew, and now I've come back and we're ready to go. So that was another thing. But hopefully when PlayStation 5 come out, because they say there will be 0 loading screens, even like they said on the PlayStation 4 that there will be 0 loading screens. Hopefully when the PlayStation 5 comes out, they won't have that, and that'll be a good thing. But that's just a very
little last point.
Yeah. That was just something that I just wanted to throw in there and say, yeah, it's a bit of a sucky move by I don't even know who made the game.
If you just play it all the time though, then it's fine, isn't
it? Yeah, if you just play it, leave the PlayStation on, you never have to see that loading screen ever again. Yeah. So bonus. Hope this review helps. You maybe, you know, think about getting the game, and, you know, opens your mind a little bit to what it's going to be. And if you do buy it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of it yourselves. So
enjoy. Bye bye.